this is my channel, A Grateful Life. My husband's with me today, Alan, and we're going to be talking about our trip on P&O's Arvia. We took a cruise in March for 16 days, Barbados to Southampton. So after an overnight stay in Barbados, we sailed on to St. Lucia, then to St. Kitts and to St. Martin. We crossed the Atlantic to Santa Cruz in Tenerife, and then on to northern Spain, Lacaruna, and then onwards home to Southampton.
Arvia is the biggest on P&O's fleet, and it holds 5,200 passengers and 1,800 crew. We found it really easy to navigate around the ship, mainly because the signage and certainly the interactive signage on board was excellent. Wherever you were on board, navigating from one place to another was really, really simple. So certainly better than some of the others on the P&O fleet. So we felt that was a real plus point.
There were 6 dining options that were inclusive on Arvia, and there was the usual main dining room and a horizon buffet, which we tended to use quite a bit because it just fitted in with what we were doing. And although it was there were less options I found on this ship, it was very good and we enjoyed it. And the inclusive options that we did enjoy was the Olive Grove. That was a very nice, sort of more intimate restaurant. It had a limited menu, but the food was really, really good and the service was very nice. And we went there, I think 4 times, and it was good every time. So yeah, we really enjoyed that one.
It felt special, didn't it? And also, although it was difficult to get into, we did manage to get some earlier bookings.
Yeah, I mean,
we kind of used it kind of pre-show, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. And
really
I think if you can book it before you go, then it's worth doing. I mean, you can always cancel it at the last minute, but it's really worth trying. The 6th Street Diner we tried just once. The decor is really fun and vibrant in there, and
theming is really good, isn't
it? Yeah, it should be a great place to go, but our experience wasn't great, and that was for breakfast. We didn't try it then for dinner. We didn't have very good food, and we waited for quite a long time. It was just an all-round not great experience, so we didn't go back. The Keys restaurant is a mix of 3 different counters. There's a fish and chips, which was fantastic.
It was really good.
Yeah, and an Asian counter, which was bowls of, well, I think they had something different every day, didn't they?
Curries and noodles and stuff
and
like that.
And didn't they have a wrap of some sort, I think, at some point? Yeah. And also a roast, that's right.
Yeah, so they were the 3 options.
Yeah, it had a Yorkshire pudding, didn't it? And they put the roast inside that, which we had that once, I think, and that was quite nice.
But the fish and chips
was brilliant.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, and that you can go to any time. They've got some seating outside as well, which is quite nice. And that's from, I think, breakfast actually until, well, the evening. Yeah. The last restaurant that was inclusive is the Taste 360 restaurant that is in the Sky Dome. We didn't try it because the Sky Dome was very, very hot and steamy in there, and it's burgers and, you know, poolside food. So
pizzas and
we can't,
like that,
we can't really comment on what that was like, but it
looked
fine.
Good. Looked good, and it seemed to be busy, didn't it?
Yeah. We used the Vista Bar in the atrium a lot for coffee and sat there reading, or people watched some exercise classes that were going on, or dance classes, which was fun over a coffee. It's a Costa coffee, so which actually was very good. And there's very large windows in the atrium, and it's, you know, it's a lovely place to sit and watch the sea go by, or when you were entering a port, that was quite a good viewing point. Another place that we tried was the Ripples, or I think there's Sundays as well. They were 2 ice cream venues that you paid for Ice cream was very nice, especially if you were going to the cinema to grab one of those before you went in.
We did that, didn't we?
Or the popcorn.
Yeah.
Or both. Okay, so there were a lot more bars and a pub and some paid-for restaurants, but we didn't try any of those. We were trying to keep to everything that was inclusive. So we can't comment on that, but there were a lot more options than I've told you here. So I'm not sure of the pricing on them, so I can't tell you that. But they look very nice, and they were very busy most of the time. So
yeah, you definitely got a lot of options in terms of where you want to eat.
Yeah.
But we stuck with the inclusive stuff, didn't we?
We did. Somewhere that we did like very much was the cinema. It had 3 screening rooms, and they showed a good variety of films, although they veered on the side of the children's films for some reason, as it wasn't the school holidays. But we did see a few good movies there, and very comfortable little screening rooms, and it was a really good option, I thought, for a cruise ship when you're on a transatlantic sailing. So yeah, we enjoyed that a lot. One of the bars that we did visit quite a bit was Anderson's Bar, just because if you went to the main dining room and your table wasn't ready, you had to wait sometimes up to an hour. They'd give you a buzzer and you could go in there, get a drink and just wait for your table. It wasn't very far from the dining room. Had a very cosy atmosphere and had a very, very small library in there as well. And it was somewhere nice to sit if you just wanted a quiet corner for reading during the day or something like that. The Headliners Theatre, that was very good. And the entertainment there was top notch, I'd say.
Yeah, it was close to West End standard. The cast on board delivered 4 different shows over the 2 weeks or so that we were on there, 3 times a night as well. And they were all excellent, weren't they?
Yeah,
we really enjoyed it. In particular,
lovely,
they did The Greatest, which is a Take That show that we really enjoyed, didn't we? So it was, we found that a really nice way to end an evening is by going to see one of those shows. It was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, they also had a little bit of entertainment in the atrium because it had a sort of, there was a trapeze kind of act that went on and some singing by the cast. And
they were really good.
It was a little bit ad hoc because we just came across it on some evenings, but it was fantastic. And again, the quality was excellent. So the room, let's talk about the room, or the cupboard as I called it.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
So we had a room, an inside cabin on the 11th floor, and there was really good storage space. The shower was great. The bath area was fine, wasn't it? Bed was comfortable.
Yeah.
Good choice of TV channels and stuff like that. If you were having a relaxing evening in your room or whatever. So that was all fine.
Yeah, there was no noise or movement that we felt anyway.
Because we were midship, so that was really helpful from that perspective. But you didn't like certain aspects, did you? Tell us what you didn't like.
Well, I didn't like being inside. We were able to go on that cruise because of the price that it was. We'll tell you the price at the end, but you know, being in an inside cabin makes it very affordable, and it was a case of going or not going, really. So, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it, you know, in any room, if your bedroom didn't have a window, for instance, you know, you wouldn't necessarily want to go back there and relax. So.
And also, we've experienced having a cabin with a balcony.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew, you know, what was missing, if you like.
It was a smaller room as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was tight, wasn't it? But
it was tight.
But we managed to get everything that we wanted put away.
Yeah,
and all
the
that.
storage was very good.
Yeah, storage was good. So from that perspective, it was good. I mean, value for money was great. Our cabin steward was excellent. So big shout out to him. He was probably the friendliest guy that we had.
Yeah,
we met,
member of staff, definitely.
that we met on board in terms of staff. Yeah, he was great. So yeah, nothing but high praise for him. And whether we do it an inside cabin again, it would all depend on cost and that kind of thing, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it just drove me a little bit crazy, but then I'm sensitive to that sort of thing anyway. And you'd wake up in the morning and you wouldn't know whether it was the middle of the night or 12 o'clock noon or something like that. So you'd have to put the TV on to find out. And it's just not a great way to wake up in the morning. But hey,
particularly as you're losing time as you're sailing back, because you're losing an hour on most days, so you have to get up an hour earlier. So yeah, it was a little bit confusing from that perspective. But the room overall I thought was good.
Yeah.
Okay, the Caribbean ports. We skipped Barbados for two reasons. One, the weather wasn't particularly good on the main day that we had there, and two, we both were recovering from colds and flu and the jet lag, so we kind of decided to stay on the ship for Barbados. But then we went to St Lucia, St Kitts and St Martin, with St Martin being our favourite, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really cool. They all had lovely beaches. All the ports had lovely beaches and lovely water that you could, swim in. And St Martin just, was a little bit more special. The architecture there was quite quaint, wasn't it? And the people were lovely.
And we had a little sort of sail across, didn't we? There was a
little ferry that went over to the beach and back, and that's worth going on just for that, really.
Yeah, for the fun.
Yeah, they had a little sing-song, and how they do that 100 times a day, I don't know, and still remain enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But they were lovely people, and we really enjoyed that.
And we went to sort of like a beach bar restaurant, or it was a hotel actually, wasn't it? A little boutique hotel in St Martin, and we sort of sat outside there and had a drink and a pizza, and had a nice sort of relaxing day there, didn't we?
We spent the day
of the three ports, that was definitely for me my favourite.
So we then sailed across the Atlantic to Tenerife. The ship docked in Santa Cruz, and you could walk from the ship to the town. It was very close by, and we just walked around there and went into some parks and had coffee and did a little bit of shopping.
Yeah, had some sangria in the main square.
Yeah, had a nice sangria. And we had a nice day there, just mooching about, really.
Yeah.
And then
what I thought was we didn't research it before we went to Santa Cruz, and it was such a pleasant surprise, wasn't it? Really nice architecture, really nice vibe. And the weather was kind to us as well.
Yeah, so it wasn't great, was it? But
16,
it was dry.
Like that. Yeah, it was dry. And we did a lot of walking, but it was a fun day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really nice. And then we went on to northern Spain, the port of Lacaruna. And that was a really nice surprise because, again, it docked right in the town virtually.
Yeah. And
from there, just everywhere was a beautiful architecture, lovely squares, and we walked a really long way in Lacaruna, and we ended up on a really lovely beach, and it was full of surfers and people walking their dogs, and it was just a lovely beach. But we couldn't find anywhere for coffee. It was a bit strange like that, wasn't it?
There's no beachside restaurants or cafes or anything like that, which was really unusual.
Yeah.
So we came back into the main port in Lacaruna, and it's absolutely beautiful there. We sat and had a sangria looking at the ship. There was a nice fountain sort of bubbling away in the background, and it was nice weather again. We were really lucky with the weather. And yeah, it was a really beautiful afternoon, wasn't it? Really pleasant.
It was lovely, yeah. Had another sangria.
Another one after that.
Yeah,
so if you get a chance to go to Lacaruna, we would recommend it for sure.
we sailed back to Southampton and back to some nice weather for a change.
It was good
Yeah.
weather. Yeah.
How much did it cost, Alan?
The cruise cost us £1,149 per person, which, considering that's flights, transfers, tips, all the inclusive dining, obviously the cabin, etc., we thought was great value. But there is a point that you wanted to make about insurance, wasn't there?
Yes, don't forget to factor that into your price, because whilst the price of the cruise can seem very attractive, insurance can be very expensive, and just make sure that you know what that is before you book, because it can put another £400–500 on.
Or even more, depending on your conditions.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. For us, it cost us a little bit over 400.
500 almost. Yeah.
£500.
So
So
definitely worth looking at.
it's a lot, really, on top of a really good value cruise. So yeah, just make sure that you factor that in. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it. If you're thinking of going on a cruise, let us know in the comments if you liked it, or any questions that you might have that we can answer for you. In the meantime, please please subscribe, and please leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. There were 6 main dining. So let's talk about the room. What did you like about it, Hal?